For lesson 64 for our 5th grade Elevate groups, we will be working on converting between units. Today specifically will be around length. So customary units of measurement as well as metric units. It lets you know that length is how long or wide an object is or the distance between objects. And we use rulers, tape measures, meter sticks to measure the lengths of objects. What we are going to do today is convert or change a value from one metric unit to another. You can go into this to provide students with some conceptual understanding so that they know the difference between the units. They can kind of visualize the difference between the units. However, we will be using these rules today to help us. Please project this on your screen or print this separate page out because it is not the same original image that students have printed out. This one that they have on their packet might be a little bit more complicated, so I have provided you with one that is much easier for them to understand. So either print out this sheet or project it so they have it for all their questions. You want to highlight that there are rules to converting. If we don't use the rule, we are not going to get the right answer once we convert. And then you also want to highlight that when we are going from a large unit to a small unit, we want to multiply. And when we are starting with a small unit and going to a large unit, we're going to be dividing, okay? Don't pay attention to the second page. You're going to launch students into the 5-minute model. We're not going to do this first question here just because it's not a good starting point with division. We want to give students an in with multiplication before getting to division. So for all these questions, we're going to go ahead and write the rule. So question 2 says 9 feet is equal to 3 yards. Have students go to their rule sheet. We want to find a rule about yards and feet. So, hey class, do you see any rules that have yards and feet? Yes, this rule right here tells us that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So students will go ahead and write that rule either above the question or under the question, right? And so if 1 yard is equal to 3 feet, then how many yards are there in 9 feet? And so students should be able to say, okay, well, to get from 3 to 9, we had to multiply by 3. So then we also have to do 1 times 3, which will give us 3. Okay. Then you will go to question 3. 50 kilometers equals how many centimeters? Well, what is our rule? Let's go back to our rule sheet. We know that 1 kilometer is equal to 100,000 centimeters. So then 50 kilometers, how did I get from 1 to 50? I multiplied by 50. So I also need to multiply 100,000 by 50, which gives me 5 million. And then the last question that you are going to model is this one right here. 6 feet is equal to how many inches? Well, we have to go back to our rule sheet. 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. How do I get from 1 to 6? By multiplying by 6. So then 12 times 6 gives me 72. From there, you will launch students into 10 minutes of partner practice. Please, as you are circulating, make sure students are writing the rule and that they have the correct rule down so that they're getting the right answer, okay? Question 12 might be confusing. You might have some kids saying, what am I supposed to do with question 12? Only because the answer is given. The rule itself is at the top or given for the question. So there's no actual mathematical work they have to do for this question, okay? And then questions 17 through 20 are their exit ticket questions. Please ensure that they are showing their work and then getting the right answer. And so each of these questions are worth 2 points for a total of 8 points. Here's your grading scale. For your sprint, students are multiplying fractions. So just remember that all they are doing is multiplying across. 4 times 5 is 20 and 8 times 3 is 24. Then they can go ahead and simplify to find their final answer.